phishing techniques that we've observed, and it sounds like it's a lot of what you guys have also observed. So on the next slide here, we're going to actually, like I said, break some of these down. And the first one that we wanted to talk about was QR codes. I can tell you they are not my favorite thing, especially when I see them at a restaurant. But George, I'll let you talk a little bit about some of the QR campaigns that we saw this year.
Yeah, thanks, Lily. We've got a lot of QR code stuff to go through. I'll just focus on one of the campaigns that we really investigated, and we dubbed that corrupt QR. We saw a lot of this in September of last year, and essentially the technique uses a corrupt Word, PDF, or like an OpenOffice XML document that is deliberately corrupted in such a way that it can bypass inline email security tooling. Another good understanding of what threat actors know about our security tooling, and the corruption is very easy to rebuild on the other end. So Word will automatically rebuild that for you. Adobe PDF will, and that delivers a QR code. And you know, we've said this a lot with QR codes. What do you do with the QR code? You scan it with your phone, and then immediately you're off the corporate environment. It could be your personal phone. It's very hard to track how many people have scanned that particular code, and who could be getting phished in that way. Again, I've said this a couple of times on this call, but I don't think this is going anywhere. There's a lot of movement in this space, a lot of wiggle room for threat actors to keep on delivering this stuff.
Yeah, and George, on that, I'll tell you, I was at dinner the other night, and I'm old school, right? I like to read a menu, and I go in the restaurant, I'm like, hey, can I get a menu for, and they look at me cross-eyed. I feel like I'm 80, right? And they're like, oh no, there's the QR code. I'm like, okay. This week I'm presenting on why you should not click on a QR code, but on a regular, table in an open restaurant, who knows who could put an overlay on that and actually, create a phishing thing. So yeah, these are everywhere, easy. I mean, the back of a shirt I saw in at a hockey event with my kids. I clicked on it, of course. I want to see what it had to say. It was not very appropriate, but it was pretty funny. So anyway, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are definitely everywhere. Not my favorite either, Keith. If we want to go to the next image on this slide here. So this is, I like to use AI to create graphics. So this one is AI generated. And this was to represent a technique we've been seeing this year called telephone-oriented attack delivery, or TOAD. And this is when essentially threat actors kind of do a two-pronged approach where there's an email, and sometimes that email is paired with something like a phone call. Either they receive a phone call, kind of socially engineering them to respond or action the email they sent, or they receive an email and they're prompted to call a phone number, and then when they call that phone number, they're actually socially engineered to download a remote access tool onto their system that gives the threat actors access to their system. And that's something that we've been seeing a lot of activity with, including, as recently as I think it was in January, we saw a big kind of uptick in those callback phishing schemes, is what we call them. So that's something that actors are definitely using right now. And then I think if we go to the next image.
I know you guys had said that we don't have video, but as you can see, I'm wearing a shirt and tie today. I may have a headset on because I'm cleary, but thank you for posting my picture today on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's Monday, Keith, I thought there. No.
Oh, that's Monday. It's okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, took that picture of you on Monday, actually. So, George, you want to talk about the phishing kits we've seen?
Yes. Just as the information stealer market is hotting up, so is the actor in the middle, or the phishing-as-a-service platform. Here's a screenshot of Rockstar 2FA portal. That'll run you about $3,000 monthly subscription. You get a nice 12% commission on that. This one specializes in attacker in the middle proxy clusters. We've seen lots of other platforms as well this year. Onks, Greatness, Typhoon as well. All of them sort of jostling for position. and it's a very, very active marketplace, very easy to spin these services up. Many of them are using Cloudflare integration, which does cause a lot of problems for analysis. And you get all of the benefits of Cloudflare with that, including geo-IP restriction and so on and so forth. So yes, a huge market, and something that we're keeping a very, very close eye on. I know that.
Yeah, and those phishing as a service tools, they really make it easier. I talked about the lone wolves earlier. You know, it's easy now to kind of buy into a service like this and, you know, use that to propagate large spam campaigns. So finally, the last thing we want to talk about on this particular slide, this is an image from a market. This is Google Xcoder, also known as GXC team, and they are an actor moniker on the forums that specifically sell a lot of services that are kind of AI related or AI adjacent. And this particular one, I know the image isn't super clear here, but essentially what they're offering is a service, an AI service that once an actor gets into an email inbox and has access, this can actually help them with identifying email threads that they could use then to, you know, conduct some kind of fraudulent transaction. And this kind of you know, one of the things I think that we've seen with the threat actors this past year has been them using these kind of AI tools to basically maximize productivity, either once they're in a network or, you know, on the recon side before they're in a network. Actually, you know, it saves them time when they're conducting research on their victims. So it's been very interesting to see, you know, threat actors kind of using some of these tools similar to how we would to maximize productivity. Now, the next slide here that I want to go into is looking at one of those email bombing cases. So, you know, we had about 56% of people on the call said that they've actually experienced that within your organization. So for those of you who haven't, you know, this is what it actually may look like to a victim. And essentially how it starts is an employee's inbox is spammed. Typically it comes from newsletters, so like legitimate newsletters that someone might sign up for. We believe that threat actors are probably using some kind of an automated tool to, you know, sign up that user en masse. So a user that, you know, let's say there was a user who was used to getting 100 emails a day, suddenly they log into their computer and there's 3,000 emails in there. You can imagine how overwhelmed they might be, which actually leads to the second phase of this attack, which is where actors either via phone call, or we've also seen it come through as a Teams message. They will actually reach out to the impacted user. Hey, we're from your IT. We know something's wrong with your inbox. We're here to help, right? So essentially what they do, if the user, you know, kind of agrees to that, is they will socially engineer the victim to download remote support tool on their device. And in many cases, the impact of that has been that the actor gets into the system. In this particular case, they were exfiltrating data. And this was a campaign in the case that we observed that was specifically associated with Black Boss, the ransomware group. And Black Boss is an interesting one. They're all over the news right now because they just suffered a leak of their internal chats. And some of the chats were talking about this particular technique, among others, that they have been using against victims.